Bubbly Steve is available for pre-order at shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. You've got less than a month to pre-order this 15-inch plushie. Check them out. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. We're gonna talk about DC Comics and the state of the comic book industry. Interesting interview popped up today with Jim Lee, DC Comics CCO, right? One of the last men standing at DC Comics. So many people have gone from DC Comics, but he's here to tell you that things are fine. It's all fine. Jim Lee is squashing rumors that DC's publishing is in danger. It's the exact opposite. Things have never been better, guys. It's great. The future is bright. We've got books like I Am Not Starfire. You know, they're gonna help. They're gonna help DC Comics. Endless reboots, price hikes. All of these things are gonna help DC Comics stay relevant. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 228,000 subs, I think, something like that. Thank you for the support. Got to give a hat tip to CCG, who sent this over this morning. I missed it. I haven't really been paying much attention to DC Comics other than to laugh at them, laugh at some of the stuff that they're doing. I just don't understand it. I mean, you've got a powerful brand, you've got an audience that would love to buy your comics, but you continuously alienate that audience by making really dumb decisions. And, DC is not in the greatest of places right now, contrary to what they're saying. Look at the layoffs, they've had. Last year, there were multiple rounds of layoffs. It was a DC Comics bloodbath, is what the comic book media was calling it. It was a bloodbath. And, we also have the merger of Warner Brothers with Discovery. Warner and Discovery are merging, and we know what happens with these kinds of mergers. Underperforming business divisions get gone or get consolidated. And there have been a lot of rumors about the ultimate fate of DC as a comic book publisher. Again, a lot of editorial upheaval, a lot of very unhappy creators, as we're hearing, and rumors that they would basically just, stop publishing new comics or stop making new comics. I think, Ethan Van Sciver was kind of spearheading that rumor, but there does seem to be circumstantial evidence that this could be the case. Even Bleeding Cool was like, there are some wealthy comic book fans who might be interested in putting together some kind of a company to basically take the DC license, and they would handle the comic books while DC proper focused on movies and TV shows and that sort of thing. But, I don't think DC has a very long shelf life, especially with all this corporate restructuring. But Jim Lee thinks everything's fine. They always do. I literally have seen companies put out press releases about how great things were a week or two before they shut the division down or they announced a sale, all of this stuff. And it could be that this is all to make the creatives feel better. I know that there's been a lot of grousing from freelancers about the state of DC Comics. We don't know what's going to happen. People angry about page rates, static page rates, longtime editors getting gone. A lot of unhappy people. The comic book media kind of calling the time of death for DC. But it's fine, guys. Believe Jim Lee. How could you not believe this smiling face? So this is coming from Comic Book Resources, who got it from The Hollywood Reporter. We'll go out to both articles here. Jim Lee squashes rumors DC's publishing is in danger. It's the exact opposite. Jim Lee says there's no truth to the rumors that WarnerMedia is shuttering the comic book publishing arm of the company. The fact that they have to address it tells me that there's probably a kernel of truth there, that they might not be definitely doing it, but it has come up in discussion. They've been shutting down other divisions of Warner. They're selling off other divisions of Warner to get ready for this consolidation. So it's completely plausible. DC creative officer Chief Creative Officer Jim Lee promised that the publishing arm of the entertainment company isn't going anywhere. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter about the future of all things DC, Lee and Senior VP and General Manager Daniel Cherry III were asked about rumors that WarnerMedia will shutter the publishing arm of the media empire, focusing instead on movies, TV, and video games. Lee responded saying there's no truth to the claims. Occasionally, you will run across that article or tweet, and I have to bite my tongue to not jump into the conversation, Lee said. It's the furthest thing from the truth. If anything, it's the exact opposite. The comics that we publish, the core canon we establish in comics, is driving everything we do across DC and media. We are constantly referring to the characters as we build DC beyond the publishing world. Doesn't mean, look, this could be one of those technicalities, right? It could mean that they are going to stop publishing as much new material as they have been, but they'll still publish the reprints. They'll still do occasional comics, but we're not going to see the massive amounts of comic books in comic shops. There's a lot of damage control being done. We're going to talk about Diamond a little bit too. I think we'll pull that up too. Having publishing is vital to our future, Lee continued. Having an influx of new voices, new characters, new points of view is vital to keeping the industry healthy and representative of current times. It's mission one for us to make sure that the universe we create and champion is reflective of the fan base that loves our characters. So yes, it's the cornerstone of everything we do. That is literally a statement in our documents, Cherry added. Daniel Cherry, who is an admitted activist. If you go to his Twitter profile, he actually is like, hey, I'm an activist. So we'll talk a little bit about that because I think it's going to come up more and more at DC. Lee also spoke about how DC has an advantage for creator-owned media, saying writers and artists can focus on what they do best and leave the logistics to the company. I don't think I would trust them. That's just my personal opinion. And the opportunity to see work translated to the screen is another advantage, with Lee reiterating how everything begins with the comics. Don't go to Kickstarter. Don't go to Indiegogo. Come to DC. Come to DC. We'll get your movie made. As part of the push forward, DC is diving into digital distribution more and focusing on a global reach with its books. Globalization has always been a priority, but more so now because our fans are everywhere. These movies and productions have taken over pop culture the world over, but the focus of our universe is still very much North American centric. So I think there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of opportunity to be done in diversifying, creating new concepts and characters, working with new creators we've never worked with before, bringing in a level of authenticity in their storytelling, tapping into other world cultures, and really making the universe as vibrant and relevant as it can be. This is all corporate speak. We're going to make more comic book readers somehow. We're not exactly sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to keep throwing spaghetti against the wall, WarnerMedia, until we figure out how to do it. This is all corporate speak. And I think when they feel like they have to put out a statement like this, somebody's over the target. You're over the target because this is deflection. Oh no, things are fine. Things are great. It's all great here. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. DC Comics leaves its legacy behind. Lies! DC Comics laid off a bunch of people, canceled a bunch of books. Pfft, it's good. Everything's okay. Really, it's all fine, guys. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? Lee also revealed that rather than experiencing friction with executives at the top, WarnerMedia CEO Jason Kilar supports what the comic side of the company does. He's not going to be there much longer, dude. Jason is a fan. He's very knowledgeable about DC. He will talk about the multiverse and the Earth numbers. It's great to have a leader at the top who is that supportive and a real champion for DC. That's great. Except Jason Kilar is on borrowed time. He's not going to be around much longer. And the new person coming in, the head of Discovery, their CEO, I don't think he likes comics as much. He probably doesn't. Kilar's only supposed to stick around, I guess, through the middle of next year to help with this transition. After that, he's probably out the door. So, again, great. He likes it for now, but he's going to be gone in less than a year. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So this is the article out on Hollywood Reporter, and Daniel Cherry III, who again is, a self-admitted activist. He is. They ask Jim Lee and Daniel Cherry, they asked them, and they said, does the potential Discovery merger change anything you're doing? How do you operate in this transitional environment? For some of us, we're used to working in that kind of environment. The bottom line is it's business as usual. Past the initial surprise of the announcement, see, they didn't even know. At the end of the day, we're still moving forward, trying to reach the goals and objectives we have for ourselves. The impending merger, in my opinion, does not materially change anything. We've had fun brainstorming King Shark Week and what we can do. Ha 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 ha. It's all fine. No, this is not fine. The fact they put this article out tells me things are not fine. They would not spend the time to, address every concern that people have had about DC Comics and address these rumors if things were fine. They'd be like, well, the internet's talking again. Not a big deal. It really isn't. It's, things are fine. It's all great, guys. It's all great. So I think that there's definitely something going on, that this is deflection, and I personally believe that DC is still, in a very precarious place. Again, they cut their editorial like crazy, pretty much without warning. I mean, people didn't see it coming. New comic sales aren't fantastic. People are buying comics, but they're buying a lot of back issues. They're buying a lot of manga, but the new comic sales aren't stellar, at least not from Marvel and DC. And even if they were better than they are right now, again, we're talking about a corporation that doesn't, for the most part, give a shit about comics. Once Jason Kilar's out the door, I don't think they're going to care. Who knows? And it does seem like a lot of publishers now are relying more and more on crowdfunding, and they're not going through the traditional system. In fact, Dynamite is doing an exclusive Elvira comic on Kickstarter, not comic shops, and we saw this with Boom. Boom has done it with great effect, that they've been selling their pre-orders through Kickstarter. They're not using Diamond because Diamond let comic shops down hard, and I don't even know what's left to order from Diamond. I've heard from some people that Diamond isn't even worth ordering from anymore, that people are, because you've got Marvel over at Penguin and you've got DC over at Lunar or whatever the hell it is right now, and it's too hard, and a lot of people are just not using Diamond, really. Some comic shops are just stopping carrying new comics altogether because it's become too hard to get them. Everything's not centralized like it was. So pretty interesting stuff going on in the comic book industry. It almost feels like some of what Jim Lee was saying was trying to dissuade creators from going and doing their own stuff. They're like, well, we have the infrastructure and we can get you movie deals, so why would you go do your own thing? I don't know, because you could get completely fucked over. You could get completely screwed over. For sure, you could. So anyway, interesting to see this. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. Something's going on. There's a reason they took the time to address it and address it now. Apparently, it's gotten to a place where they can't ignore the chatter anymore, or some people are going to come out and spill the beans and say, no, things are actually really bad over here. I don't know, because these rumors have been around for over a year, and only now are they choosing to address them. So I'm going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.